Good morning and welcome back to our Food for Thought sports betting picks analysis. This will be a condensed version for this morning, our Food for Thought show that we're having. So what we're doing here, we're gonna do the NBA, and I'm gonna do a condensed version of this, or 8 games, and at the same time, I will give you my best bets for the game, and I'll let you know each game which way I'm leaning, or if I'm going to pass or play. So the first game is going to be Charlotte versus Detroit. Opening line was 5.5. The total is 214. The current number now is 6. The line is 6. The majority of books is 6. And the total in most places now is, we'll say, 218. So if we look at this, we look at the series between Detroit and Charlotte. Let's take a look at this a bit more. So it's 219. The consensus number is 219 now, and it's -7. The consensus. Head to head, 6-4. Detroit's winning the series. Head to head, it's an under series, 4-6 to the under. I'm sorry, 4-6 against the spread, Detroit, and 3-7 to the under. Now, both these teams have played twice. The first game was in Charlotte, November 6th, and Charlotte was a 1.5 point dog. They won by a point, 108-107. The total was 223 at that time, and it did go under. The next game was November 21st in Charlotte, and Charlotte was a 2 point dog, and they won again, 123-101. Now again, the third game, interestingly enough, the total has gone down by 3 points to 219.5 and 7.5 now. That's for the Pistons. Now, since those meetings, Charlotte, they have not won a game. They've lost 8 games in a row. And out of the 8-game losing streak, they've only covered about 3 games out of the 8-game losing streak. They covered 2 of the games against Indiana and Philly on the road, and they covered 1 game at home against OKC. And the scoring has been off. They haven't been putting up a lot of points. So, with that being said, and Detroit, even though Detroit's 7-3 in the last 10, or 8-2 in the last 10 over, and 7-3 against the spread, and 6-4 to the over, I would lean to the under, and I wouldn't talk you off a Detroit team total. I'm not sure what the team total is for Detroit. I can check and see. But I wouldn't talk you off that Detroit team total. Maybe that's the option to go with if I was to play it. That's the way I would advise you. Let me take a look at the Detroit team total. Let me see here. Detroit team total. Let's see. So trying to pull up that information for a moment. The Detroit team total is 112 and a half. So I would advise you to take the Detroit team total over 112 and a half. It's a good number. I think that would clear. Instead of betting the game going under, do the Detroit team total over 112 and a half. That's my advice to you. If you're going to play that, I'm not playing that, but that's what I would advise you to do. Next game, Orlando at Toronto. Orlando's a 1.5 point favorite. The total is 214 and a half. That was the for the opening line in that one. So currently, right now, it's sitting at 216. It's -1 Orlando now, 216 and a half. So the matchup between these two teams, last 10 games, 6-4, Orlando's winning the series. They've won 7-3 against the spread, Orlando, and 4-6 to the under. So this has been an under series. The last two meetings have gone under. Overall, in general, Orlando 4-6. The last 10, 4-5 against the spread. Orlando 4-6 to the under. Toronto 1-9 in their last 10 games. They beat Brooklyn. They ended their losing streak and beat Brooklyn. And they're 5-4 against the spread, 6-3 to the over. So Toronto has played 6 overs in a row, which is interesting. And Orlando, they are the opposite. They're 4-6 to the under. They're flip-flopping over-unders, basically. And this one's 216.5. I would lean to the over. I'd go over in this series. I know I know this series has been under, but I would lean to the over in this game. Or what you can do if you don't want to play the full game over, this is another team total you can do just in case. Let's see. So you can do a team total Orlando. I'm going to check the team total now. For any all you team total bettors out there, that's something you can do. So the team total for the Raptors, 108.5. That's the team total for the Raptors. Orlando is 108 as well. So you can do either team total. That's the option I can give you, or you can bet the over in the full game. That's my advice. That's what I would advise you to do for that game. Next game we're going to look at New York versus Oklahoma City. Total 220.5. Opening number was at 5 for OKC. So right now, currently they are 4.5 point favorites OKC, and the total is 222. That's the total right now. So in this matchup here, 8-2 head to head, 3-7 against the spread. Orlando, and 8-2 to the over. Last 10 for the Knicks, 9-1, 7-3 against the spread, 5-5 total. Last 10 for OKC, 9-1, 7-2 to the against the spread, and 3-6-1 to the under OKC. And this one's 222. Let's see here. The Knicks have won 9 games in a row. They've got a 9-game winning streak. Now they're dogs against OKC. And OKC, they're on a winning streak. They have won 9 in a row. They've covered 3 straight at home. I would take OKC in this game. I would take OKC in the points. I think OKC would cover the points. I'll take OKC. I think they're capable of covering these points. They beat the Knicks the last 2 times. They beat them the last 2 times they've beaten the Knicks. So I would take OKC at home. I definitely would take OKC in this game. I think OKC will cover the spread and win this game at home. They've beaten the Knicks the last 2 times, and I can see that continuing. I think they covered the spread. I think they covered the 4.5. I'll take OKC to cover. I like OKC. In terms of the total, I'm not sure about the over/under. That I passed on, but I like OKC. Next meeting is Boston versus Houston. This one here. Boston versus Houston. Opening line in this game was 3.5, 221. That was the opening number. So currently now it's at -2 Boston. Total is 220.5. Head to head, 7-3 Boston, last 10, 6-4 against the spread. Boston 2-8 to the under. Boston in general, last 10, 5-5, 3-6 to the against the spread, 5-5 over under. Last 10 for Houston, 7-3, 5-5 against the spread, 5-5 to the total. I would take first half Houston. Houston's usually a good first half team. They're more rested. Boston's played a lot of games, three games in 4 days. They've been not on that kind of trend in terms of playing games. Houston's more rested. So I like Houston first half for them to throw the first punch. That's my take on that. It's actually one of my top plays, Houston first half. Let me see what that number is. Let me see if it's out already, because that's one of my top ones. I'm going to take a look at that right now. Houston first half. Let's take a look at that. Houston first half. Let me look at that right now. Houston first half. Boston's 1.5 point favorites, so I would take Houston plus 1.5. I like Houston to cover that first half, plus 1.5 Houston. That's one of my top plays, so I definitely like that. In terms of the total, not sure which way to go on that one. I'm passing on the total for now, but I'm not sure about that play. Next game, Cleveland versus Dallas. This will be short and sweet. Let me just get to the history of these teams. Head to head, 5-5, 3-7 against the spread. Dallas 5-5 total. Cleveland last 10, 9-1, 7-3 against the spread, 8-2 to the over. Cleveland. This is playing other teams in general. Dallas 4-6 last 10, 4-6 against the spread, 3-7 to the under. Dallas has lost 3 in a row on the road. Cleveland keeps on racking up the wins. This is now, they have won 7 straight games, and they've covered, out of the on that 7-game winning streak, they have covered 5 of those games. So Cleveland's still on the road in Dallas. This is the final game of the road trip. I believe they end this road trip off with a bang, and they covered the 7 points. I personally played it at 6.5. I wouldn't stop you from playing it at 7, but I would take it at 7. Cleveland minus 7. I would bet that. Anything past 7 past 7, if it's 7.5, 8, I wouldn't touch it. But I would take Cleveland at 7. So try and get that now before it gets to 7.5. If you cannot get it for 7.5. Try and bet the game live and see if you can get a better number live. But I'm on Cleveland minus 7. I'm gonna keep riding this streak of Cleveland covering spreads until it fizzles out or dies out. I'm gonna keep on riding it. I ride the hot streaks. So that's what I'm gonna be doing on that game. Next game, San Antonio, Denver. The opening line in this game here is minus 7. Total 233.5. So we're going to look at the current odds screen now. We are seeing a lot of, let's get here. Seeing a lot of 6.5. So 6.5, total 237.5. Head to head, 6-4. Last 10, Denver 6-4 against the spread. San Antonio 5-5 overall for the over/under. San Antonio in general, last 10 games, 6-4, 7-3 against the spread, 6-4 to the over. Denver last 10 games, 7-3, 6-4 against the spread, 7-3 to the over. So Denver has won 3 straight games, and San Antonio, they've had flip-flop wins. I I'm going to look here at the total instead of the spread. So Denver has gone over the total 4 straight times, so their offense has been potent and has been doing well. Spurs have flip-flopped the over-unders. So in a case like this, I would still take the over because series history shows that 5-5 the over-under is even, but I'll still take the over. I think Denver really playing no defense. San Antonio can exploit their defense and get some points to push this number over the 238.5. So I think that'll take place. Did I say 238? It's 237.5. It's right now 237.5. So I'll bet the over 237.5. I'll definitely jump on that. So that's my take on that one. No opinion on the sides, just that over. Next game is Memphis versus Sacramento. Current line 3.5. Sacramento. Total 239.5. It did open up at 3.5, 238.5. That was the opening number. So it's gone up by 239.5. So we look at the history here. The last 10 head-to-head, 5-5, 7-3 to the over. 7-3 against the spread, Memphis, and 3-7 to the under in this series. Now they did play this year, December 5th, and it went under the total of 243 at that time. So interestingly enough, it's back to it went down to 239.5 since that meeting. It went down. This is in Memphis. This game's in Sacramento. So in general, Memphis 7-3 last 10, 7-3 against the spread, 5-4 to the over. That's Memphis. Sacramento last 10, 4-6, 2-8 against the spread, 4-6 to the under. Sacramento. I would lean to the under. I know unders are very hard to play with these kind of high totals, but I would lean to the under here. Just based on the history of these two teams, and then based on the first meeting, since the total has gone down by about 3 points to 239, it's telling me that this might be an under. That's what it's telling me. So I would lean to the under. In terms of the side, I would. The side, I have actually no opinion on the side. No opinion on the side whatsoever. The side's a pass. No opinion on the side. It's an actual pass. Just the under in this game. The next and final game, Atlanta versus the Lakers. The total's 231.5. The Lakers are favored by 2.5 points. Opening line for this game was Lakers 3.5, 233.5. So now it's gone down by 2 points to 231.5. And then the spread now is 2.5 Lakers. So it's dropped by 2 points. It drops it a little bit. So head to head against these teams, 6-4 the Lakers, 4-6 against the spread Lakers, 7-3 to the over. In general, the last 10 for Atlanta, 5-5, 5-5 against the spread, 6-3 to the over. Last 10 for the Lakers, 7-3 against the spread, 8-2 against the spread. 7-3 Lakers, 8-2 against the spread Lakers, 4-6 to the under. Lakers have won 3 straight. Atlanta, their 4-game winning streak came to an end in Denver. Lost in Denver. So the first meeting between these two teams was December 6th last month in Atlanta. It went to overtime, and Atlanta covered in overtime. So I don't really expect anything to be different in this series. I know the number has dropped to 231 from 232, but I expect this to go over the total. Based on Atlanta's style of play, that will influence the Lakers. That will have major influence and effect on the Lakers' style of play, Atlanta's style of play, because Atlanta's a fast-paced team. They like to go up and down the court, so that'll affect the Lakers from a defensive standpoint. because they're not playing really any solid defense to make this game go under. So I like the game to go over the total. I like the over here a lot. I like that over pretty much. But in terms of the side, Lakers covered the 4 point. They were 4-point dogs in Atlanta. They covered. Now they're favored. I would lean to the Lakers to cover I'll lean to the Lakers money line. I think the Lakers would return the favor and win one in LA against the Hawks. Like I said, I know the Hawks, their streak ended in Denver. They haven't played since New Year's Day. But I like the Lakers here to give the Hawks their second loss. So I would definitely take the Lakers to win this game. I like the Lakers here. And the money line. So to recap my plays, my top plays for the NBA, because this is a shorter version of it. Top plays I like. Oh, we didn't do Washington and the Pelicans. My apologies. Sorry about that. Washington is the Pelicans are -7, total 231.5. The opening line for this game is -7, 231.5. So we still have 7 for the Pelicans, 231.5. Now, since the unfortunate situation in New Orleans this past weekend, with the unsettling situation down there, with a lot of unsettling things happening and occurring, I believe the Pelicans will put on a show for all the fans that in attendance, and really show out and cover this spread and win the game. I know the Pelicans right now, they're going through a dry spell where they have lost 10 straight games. It's 10 in a row. So I think this ends today. I think they ended tonight, and give the people a show and win and cover the spread. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go on that limb and say that the Pelicans cover the spread and win this game. Just because of what happened in New Orleans with the tragedy. We hope everybody's okay down there. But I like the Pelicans here to show out and end this streak. So my best bets I'm going to say is Pelicans -7. I like Cleveland I took Cleveland 6.5. I like that one. I like Houston in the first half +1.5. I like the over in San Antonio, Denver, 237.5. That's my over of the day in the NBA. And that's it. Those are all my plays for today for the NBA. Again, we'll come back this afternoon. We're gonna discuss the NHL, college basketball, and throw in a college football game for you for my best bets. So this is the NBA version. So you have all my picks for the NBA. So again, I'll be back in the afternoon to give you my picks for the other games. College football this afternoon. We have the hockey, NHL, and college basketball. All right? So until then, stay true to yourself, stay blessed, stay humble, believe in yourself, cash those tickets. Peace.